can't be in two places at once, can you? Let's investigate. Here are 19 reasons to read The Outsider. Hi everyone, I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram. Welcome back to my channel. This is where I'm taking you through the works of Stephen King in chronological order and giving you 19 reasons to read all of his books. And I also throw in a few specials here and there, including my ultimate guide to the Dark Tower, which you can check out whenever you like. Now, if all of that sounds interesting and you fancy some more, click around, see what you find, and if you enjoy yourself, hit subscribe, and then you'll never miss anything in the future. If you want to come and say hi on Instagram as well, I gave you my handle earlier, at Dave Musson, always happy to chat. This time we're up to 2018 and The Outsider, a novel that is horror, supernatural crime, and Holly Fracking Gibney all at once. I'm going to give you 19 reasons to read this one, and I will cluster any spoilers together at the end and give you warning before they come, so in case you haven't read The Outsider yet, you can still watch some of the video and then dip out before I ruin anything for you. Or you can just let me spoil it. Totally up to you. Live your life how you want to. Anyway, here are 19 reasons to read The Outsider. So I kind of blew my load on this reason a few seconds ago, but hey, you can have it again. This story is a blend of lots of really cool things. It's got some of King's creepiest writing. It's arguably his best crime writing. The supernatural stuff is weird as fuck. And at its core, it is a great, compelling story. That's not a bad summary, right? Admit it. You're interested. Oh, it also features Holly Fracking Gibney. Yep, absolutely frack loads of Holly Fracking Gibney, which is great, obviously. Now, on a serious note, if you haven't read the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, then I would strongly suggest you do those books before you do The Outsider. It's not necessary, but there are things in The Outsider that will spoil that trilogy for you. So if you're planning on doing this book and The Outsider, if you're planning on doing The Outsider and the Mercedes trilogy, do them in order of publication. So the hook of this one is very simple and very compelling. At the start of the book, we learn that a young boy has been brutally, horrifically murdered and left covered in lots of, well, jizz. And this jizzy evidence absolutely and unequivocally points the blame at one man, a local teacher and Little League coach, Terry Maitland. It's a stone cold dead cert case. It's so nailed on that the police go big on the arrest, making it a full daylight town event type situation that everybody sees. Only problem is that teacher, Terry, that they arrested, he was 70 miles away when the murder happened and has a rock solid alibi. And so the question is thrown up. How can somebody be in two places at once? Or is there something more than meets the eye going on here? There's more than meets the eye, and you'll have a lot of fun reading about it. So this book gives us a great King lead character, police detective Ralph Anderson. He's really likable, really flawed as well, and is a perfect driver to guide us through this story. I mentioned Gibney, right? Just checking. I know some people actually fracking like her. So Terry Maitland, that local teacher who absolutely, surely, definitely did it right, is an excellent character. Really, really well drawn. Did he do it? Is he innocent? Has he just got a really good poker face? Has he got a very creative alibi? I think it's testament to King's writing that up until a certain point, you can never quite fully dismiss the fact that it could have been Terry. We're always wondering, maybe. So the way that Ralph has Terry arrested, that broad daylight public, let's all sit down, grab some popcorn and watch this fucking spectacle, it's delightful, especially when that concrete case soon starts to show serious cracks. So random shout out to the UK paperback edition, to the creepy man down the side. So some of the horror in The Outsider is fantastic. The crime at the start is horrific, but the scenes with the figure with the Play-Doh face and the figure lying under the bed, really got under my skin and still do get me pondering a little bit sometimes when I'm trying to get to sleep at night. But just like with Sleeping Beauties last time, we're going to a different state yet again. Most of this story, we are in Oklahoma, and it seems like a pretty pleasant place to be. Apart from all the murdering and crime and stuff like that. But you know what I mean. So one of my favourite things about The Outsider is how much of a jigsaw it is. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's just so many pieces at play here. And before you can put all of these pieces over here together and work out what this part of the picture is, you end up finding a load more from over here. And then some from over here as well. And you have to start really pulling the whole thing together. And it just becomes really gripping. There's not loads more I'm going to say before we venture into spoiler territory. So I'll just wrap up this section by saying this is a fantastic page turner. Kind of feels dirty calling this an aeroplane read because, well, King's writing is far better than most of those sort of books. But that kind of thing is what I mean. It's great if you've got a run of a few hours where you just want to get stuck into something that will suck you in and not let you out. The Outsider does exactly that. It grips you from the start. It compels you to keep turning those pages, and it will make it really difficult for you to put it down. And you can't really ask for much more than that, can you? Okay, I mentioned spoilers, and now is the time to sound that alarm. If you haven't read The Outsider and you don't want any spoilers revealed, you need to dip out of this video now. I thank you for coming, and I hope you will come back again. Otherwise, stick around because I've got a few more reasons to read The Outsider coming right up. So the description of the murder scene at the start of the book, the young boy, Frankie Peterson, who's been murdered, the way King tells us what has been done to him is quite something. He doesn't pull any punches on the violence, the blood, the semen, the bite marks, the sodomy. And, well, it hooks you in right from the start. It's one of his most powerful openings in years at this point in his career. So as you will know if you've read this book, or you might have guessed if you've just stuck around this far, Terry did not kill that kid, Ralph. Shout out to the excellent 2020 miniseries adaptation of this book. No, Terry is innocent, which makes it completely devastating then that he is gunned down outside of the courthouse by Frankie's surviving brother. Now that shooting is something you can see coming. You can see it coming a mile off, particularly thanks to Ralph's pig-headedness. And yet it still comes as a shock when it actually happens. So who is the murderer then? Well, it's the Outsider, of course. And the Outsider is this figure who can take the form of anyone he touches, specifically who he scratches. Yep, he can take their form, frame an innocent person, and then shapeshift into something else and move on, leaving a wake of destruction and grief behind him. And as we learn more about the backstory of the Outsider and we uncover this trail of devastation that this prick has left, well, it just adds to the compelling nature of this book. So I've mentioned Holly showing up and had a bit of a laugh about it. But actually, she's all right in this. She's kind of likeable, actually. Her brilliance, her just unbelievable brilliance, is a little bit off-putting. But it's her ability to think outside the realms of normal thinking, to think the unthinkable, that actually is the key to solving this case. And not only that, to helping Ralph develop as a character and as a person. So, actually, Holly, well done. Good work. Good fracking work. So the final quarter of this gets a bit wild. We end up in a cave in Texas with our gang of heroes taking on and confronting the Outsider. It strays into the realms of being a bit too silly, but just about saves itself, particularly coming after the brilliance that has preceded it. It just about works. Aside from Holly, there is not much in the way of Easter eggs in this one. We learn about some of the events of the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, and there is a mention, a reference of Car. But that is about it. Hey ho, let's go. There we go, 19 reasons for you to read The Outsider. For my money, a terrific book and one that will satisfy any type of Stephen King fan. You've given this one a shot, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, there's loads more, 19 reasons to read all of his books up to this point, and a few specials out there as well, including my recent King and Music special. Do check those out if you like them and you're not already subscribed. maybe consider subscribing and you won't miss any in the future. If you want to come and chat King on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson, always happy to hear from you. Next up, we're tackling another release from 2018, which, despite what the marketing department said, is not a novel, okay?